Hello and welcome back to my channel. Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever you are. So I figured I would come on here and basically do a mini life update about where I've been for the past 2 weeks and kind of explain what hobbies I've been doing besides reading and give a little life update and just see how things have been with y'all. So first things first, the semester is finally and thankfully over. So I passed one of two classes this semester. I am taking Elements of Nutrition and Intro to Biology. I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but I am on the pre-nursing track. If everything goes according to plan, I will be in the nursing program by my 23rd birthday, so next fall, which I'm very much excited. Elements of Nutrition, I believe I passed with an 80, like a 79, 80. Which I'm very thankful for. I learned a lot about the human body. I learned not a lot about nutrition, because I have had a very interesting history with that. But some stuff I already knew, some stuff I didn't, and it was actually really insightful. So I think it's kind of cool. The second class that I took, which is the class that I ultimately failed, was Intro to Biology. Unfortunately, what happened with that is halfway through the semester, so about first week of March, we switched professors. So we went from 26 assignments, including exams, quizzes, stuff like that, to 11, which dramatically dropped my grade. And what happened was a lot of the homework assignments that were due, there was no lecture notes that were posted, and if any notes were posted, they were not matching up to the assignment that was due. I know for like the last 3 weeks of the semester, the same 100 slides kept getting reused, and it was not beneficial to what we were supposed to be learning at all. My issue was I would do well on the homework. I would consistently get like 18 to 19 out of 20. And then when it came time to the end of module exams, I was bombing them because what was on the exams, we either hadn't learned yet or it wasn't what was matching to the lecture notes and the homework. And the exams were based off of the homework. So it's the whole thing. I did talk to my advisor about it. She's very much aware. Thankfully, I am allowed to retake it in the summer. Summer classes start next week, which is a lot shorter gap than last year. However, I don't mind because it keeps me busy and it keeps me occupied. The the next life update that I have is, after much careful consideration, I have decided to go and become an EMT. Over the weekend, I talked to about 3 different technical colleges or continuing education places to get my EMT certification. It was down to becoming an EMT or becoming a medical assistant. However, my very good friend, her mom was a nurse, and I asked for her advice, and she said that given the nursing specialty I want to go into, EMT is the much better route. EMT I can also get in sooner. EMTs get better benefits, better pay, and the program itself is almost a third of the price of the medical assistant. The medical assistant program I would not have been able to get into until next summer, so that kind of defeats the whole purpose. The EMT class or group that I am hopefully doing starts in August. So on Friday morning, when this video will be posted, I will be taking my entrance exam. It's basically like English, math, and reading, basically saying, hey, yeah, you got this, you're not going to fail. So not looking forward to the early time, but I'm very much excited about the next couple steps. Okay, editor Liz here. It is Friday afternoon when I am editing this video. But I woke up at 7 a.m. for nothing. Turns out for the EMT program, I did not actually need to take that entrance exam. So now that the life update is out of the way, I figured I would talk about some of the hobbies that I have been doing in between finals and preparing for the new semester and the next step in life. I will admit I have not been reading the last 2.5 weeks, mainly because the book that I was reading, The Beautiful, I somehow lost. I cleaned my apartment over the weekend and found it hidden in the couch. So I very much think what happened is I had my book on the couch or on the little side tables, and then somehow it got knocked over, and then my cat, living after her name, was a menace, and it somehow got pushed under there, which I don't mind. She's very cute. So I figured I would talk about the hobbies that I have been doing. Okay, so obviously the first thing besides reading is I have been playing a lot on my Switch. The games that I like to play are, and I got them as like a little present for Easter from my parents, is Disney Dreamlight Valley and then Jurassic World Evolution. I also will occasionally play games like Subnautica, or Pokemon Z to A. I did unfortunately have to stop playing Hogwarts Mystery because I finished the game and I have one quest left to do, and then once I finish that quest, the game is over. So I am very much just not playing it because I don't want the game to be over. I do know that I can replay it, but I just very much don't want to. So that is what I've been doing. Those are the games that I have been playing. What I've been doing is I will finish my homework assignments, and then while my fiance is gaming, or if he's working from home, which he's not today, which is why I'm filming, then I will finish my homework, and then I'll game for like a couple hours on my Switch. So that is the first thing. So the next thing that I've been doing is coloring. It's specifically these ones. I have not colored anything in this one. I got them at BAM for like, I want to say like $8 a piece. This one I can't really show because it's a bunch of swear words, and I've colored a couple pages in this one. But the one that I've been really working on is this self-love one. I am halfway done with it. So this is the one that I was working on last night. Again, while my fiance is gaming, I will either be playing on the Switch or I will be coloring. My goal is to finish a coloring book for once in my life, because in my life I have never finished a coloring book. So I am very excited at the fact that I am over halfway done with this. I do have a paper in between each one or behind the one I'm working on, mainly because I don't want to risk it bleeding through. And occasionally, if I need to compare colors, marker colors, I will put it on the paper. So that's what the paper's for. So that is the second activity. And then the last one is, it's almost done. I just have, I don't know if you can tell, a tiny little strip, but it is the diamond dot paintings. This one specifically is the Starry Night. I just have a little strip left. All of this has been done within 7 months over a period, or in between me going to school full time, I was working full time, and then just dealing with life. So this is almost done. Realistically, if I'm in the right headspace, or if I've taken, my ADHD meds and I'm focused on them, realistically, I could probably finish this strip in a day. So that is that activity. Okay, and the next hobby that I have been doing is I have taught myself how to do my own nails at home. So, fun fact about me is I used to always have my nails done, as in every 3.5, 4 weeks, I would go to the nail salon, I would get them professionally done. And then earlier this year, I was budgeting, and then I realized that between 2024 and 2025, I had spent, I want to say, like over $2,500 between 2 years on doing my nails at home, and the average cost for me going to get them done at the salon was $85 every 4 weeks. So, fortunately, I decided not to keep up with that anymore, so I did decide to stop doing them. I let the acrylics that I had on grow out, and then I cut them off. So I taught myself how to do them at home. I have all of the supplies. I have the nail tips, I have the lamp, I have drill, I have nail polishes. I don't have them on right now because I did unfortunately smash my ring finger in the door, so it is bruised. so I'm not going to put a nail on top of that and risk damaging my nail. But it's in this nice little bin crate, that is a crate that my bestie gave me for Valentine's Day, and I am just reusing it, and it holds all of my nail supplies. Okay, you may be wondering what this pile of books is. So it's 6 books so far, and they are all books on my shelf that I have either never been able to get into, or I read them once and hated them so much that I should have technically DNF'd them. So the first one is Dance of Thieves. I originally got it because of Book Talk in like 2022. I have tried reading it, however, it's, for some reason, I've never been able to click with it. So unfortunately, this one is coming off of the bookshelf. The next one, for obvious reasons, is this one. I have read it twice, and then I read it once when I was, I want to say 15, which no 15-year-old should ever be reading this at all. I read it once when I was 15, and then again when I was 17 or 18. And then I realized how terrible this book actually is. And the line that has stuck with me the entire time is, "We both laughed at our son's big balls," which no parent should ever be laughing like that, and it should not have been written. Obviously, all of the issues with Colleen Hoover and the fact that she glorifies domestic and everything else associated with that, I just genuinely want her off of my shelf, and I will admit the last time I went to a thrift store, I saw like 4 of these. So, this is going into the pile. The next one is Wicked Saints. Again, I've tried to read it, however, the multiple POVs is not for me. I am fine with like 1 or 2 because that's easy for me to follow. However, the fact that there is 4 different POVs and they're all with very conflicting storylines, it's not for me. I DNF'd about 5 chapters in. So, unfortunately, this one is also going in the pile. The next one is Powerless and Reckless, and yes, there are no dust covers because the dust covers got ripped. So, these are coming off the shelves. Don't get me wrong. The first half of Powerless was great. However, I could not get past the first half. I have tried reading it again and again. However, my issue, and it's an issue that I've been noticing a lot of people talk about, is the similarities between both The Hunger Games and Red Queen, which came out a decade prior to this. I have tried and tried to read it again. Unfortunately, I cannot get past the similarities, and it's basically giving me the ick. So unfortunately, these will have to go. What also bothers me is normally I don't let an author, how do I word this? I don't really let an author's actions dictate if I like the book or not, but because the author herself said it was inspired by, and basically admitted that there was a fanfic that somehow got published where there are multiple lines that are taken directly from other books. That is a big no-no for me. So unfortunately, these 2 books are going in the pile. And as time goes on, I will gradually add books to the pile. And I should have mentioned this at the beginning, but if any of you would like these books, you can either leave a comment or send me an Instagram on TikTok, and I will be more than happy to ship them out to you, or if you're local, meet up with you. And lastly, the last book, Ace of Spades. So I read this many moons ago, and it's not bad. However, it's not for me. I get the serious undertones of the book. However, I had to force myself to read it the first time, and I can't get with it again. I'm sorry if you love this book. I love that for you. However, it is not for me. So, that is the last book, and I will probably add more to the pile. So, with that being said, that is a mini life update for y'all. I hope y'all have a really good day, really good night, really good morning, whatever it is, and I will see you next week. Bye, guys! Today's video is heavily sponsored by my coffee. Not even in frame. We're gonna find out in a second.